Wait, how many light bulbs does it take to unscrew a Zoom ball? Answer, about 350.
I need about 350.
350.
I remember being in love with this game during the first playthrough of it. I thought it was the perfect intimate dystopian playground to free run and parkour through and take in the horror sights and smells. The simple fact that the main character Crane has already been infected in the very first cinematic of the whole game, that simple fact adds that much more stress and urgency to your gameplay, since you need either anti-seizure meds or antizin to stop the rabies infection from progressing. This creates a super desperate situation for you and the survivors who have been infected. It adds a little more foreboding anxiety and makes the pursuit of such treatments and helping the civilians more compelling. This game seldom glitches, which makes for a really smooth playthrough, but when it does glitch, it makes for a huge interruption in gameplay. For example, during Rise's arena quest to fight and survive in the pit, where he hands you an arena machete. Yeah, he's so generous, he gives you a shitty gray weapon. Great. But anyways, during that quest and that scenario where you're in the pit and all of Rise's thugs are watching you, there was one zombie still alive somewhere in the pit, keeping me locked in there and preventing me from completing this quest. The last freaking zombie boy was on the ground prone and couldn't get up. He was stuck. This little zoomer zombie right here refused to get up even for firecrackers, which are supposed to lure them. Before I found this son of a bitch, I thought maybe I'm supposed to escape from the pit, so I tried to climb out any angle I could find because this game presents very little difference between interactive objects and dumb objects part of the scenery. That's not all bad and actually kind of good in this game because it creates a seamless transition between things that stick out and things that don't, and it certainly made me feel like my character blended into the environment, blended into the game more. That makes this game super immersive but also kind of confusing because you may miss some interactable objects that blend into the environment too well. Now back to the glitch. I spent at least 15 minutes to half an hour trying to escape because a frickin' dead boy was glitching stuck on the ground. But he wasn't dead, twice. He was undead, but I didn't kill him yet, so I couldn't complete the quest to get out of the pit. Yada yada, once I found him, I felt really stupid. That brings me to this game's polish. It's very polished and has clean gameplay 98% of the time, free of any buggy, glitchy messes. As you progress through the main story, the AI and the mobs of enemies evolve from boring meatbags to more aggressive zombies with more ambition to follow you, and they have more health and they're tougher to take down. There are more big Zoombos, more zombies on fire, more of the fast, viral, recently turned zombies spawn. A lot of them spawn. It's safe to say in the second half of this game, or even the last 3/4 of this game, you will be fighting these virals, which are really fast and annoying and hit you many times. So many of these faster viral zombies spawn. So many of them, in fact, it's hard to keep track of them all as they swarm you from all sides. They gang up on you real quick. They can score such cheap, easy hits on you, it's very frustrating, especially on console because your thumbs, they gotta be quick. They gotta be like Mario Party 1, quick. You know what I mean? Those mini games. Sometimes there's zero audio warnings or cues from these zombies, maybe since the sound is lost and didn't get a chance to play among the thousands of other noises in this undead concrete jungle. So with no audio cues from the virals sometimes, it forces you to look at your minimap a lot. That sucks. It breaks up your focus on scoring headshots and dodging hits. Other than feeling like you occasionally lose some sound effects, error 404, the sound design is really killer. It's really eerie and very haunting. It creates a great dystopian horror soundtrack full of undead choir and chorus vocals. Occasionally you will hear a newly turned viral zombie holler and shout these terrifying noises, then break a door down and escape in the distance. Once you hear this, expect a visit from them shortly after. In Dying Light, there is an abundance of my favorite term in games journalism, environmental storytelling. In film, I was taught to fill the frame.
2, fill the frame. Right. 3, frame the fill.
Meaning put up some lights in the shot, put up more objects, Those become practical lights, by the way, if they're in the shot. Or just place a ton of stuff in line of sight of the camera. This stuff is called gack, and it only becomes a prop when an actor interacts with it. The environment in this game is filled with gack, filled with shite, right, bruvs? Most of it is all bloody, very, very bloody. There are many bodies torn in half or torn 5 ways as there are grains of sand in the harbor. There are bodies everywhere. With almost everyone dead, there's no one to pick up the trash or throw it out, so every other step is on trash, basically. You're stepping mostly on trash, not sidewalk or street. Vehicles are abandoned everywhere and most have crashed. You get the idea, right? The distressed environment adds stress and immersion to your dystopian experience. What a cheesy line that is. It does complete the dystopian experience, though. I love spending time in this game. It's really immersive, and games like Dying Light that absolutely nail the environment compel me to play longer and longer. This game has 3 default skill trees that level up just by playing the game itself. There isn't much choice other than what abilities and craftables to learn and unlock first. Sure, one direction on the tree differs from any other, but eventually you'll occupy the whole damn tree, right? The goal is to unlock the whole tree. This game is loot heaven. It's definitely for hoarders. It's definitely for Fallout fans that hoard tons of junk and loot. I feel like I'm constantly deciding between looting or running. If you have OCD or if you're a straight up hoarder, you'll probably feel right at home, and you'll feel the same way playing this or any other looter shooter. That's how I feel. You could spend every second of this game looting something. Every other footstep can scratch that looting itch, I swear. It's a perfect little sandbox, full of loot, full of junk, full of crafting materials, full of weapons. The enemies are mostly dull Walking Dead type cannon fodder. Occasionally a random baddie will want some intimacy with you and they'll try to get to third base with you, which prompts a QuickTime event. Frantically press the button on the screen because no means no. It spices up the urgency for sure, but it seldom happens. Until you level up, then it happens all the time. All the cannon fodder zombies immediately try to hug you and bite you. There are a variety of mobs, some with more than average health, which require more tender love and care. Those big boys, those buff boys, swinging rebar and concrete are easily dealt with any ranged weapon. You don't even have to get hit by them or be in proximity of them. Very easily dealt with. But the bottom line is, variety is the spice of life, and it's in this game. The DLC blueprints completely change the pace of the game. It's certainly cheating, and the weapons from said blueprints are totally overpowered for the beginning of the game, maybe the first third of the game. You're so overpowered early on. When you craft the blueprints from any weapon you find, you get such a huge damage boost in early game that it makes whatever the quartermaster has look like a toothpick. The weapon system is great, and also filled with tons of variety. Since each weapon has a durability system and can only be repaired a limited number of times, this forces you to mix it up and keep trying different weapons, or keep making the same weapon with different mods if you choose, or whatever. I think it's genius. This game compels you to keep playing, free running and looting. Not necessarily because of the story or characters, okay, they're not that memorable sometimes, especially the side stuff, but because of the chance at another zombie killing combo during combat, or threading the needle through Haran's busy congested infrastructure with some parkour skills. It's really addicting fun. It's the perfect playground for parkouring over buildings, cars, street lamps, trains, and even Zoombos. Sometimes you'll happen upon a random NPC that adds some context to the horror show in Haran, or has some personal conflicts they want to air out, share with you. They really need a therapist or whatever. This breaks up the addicting, fast-paced gameplay and gets annoying since these characters are not ever seen again and all they have is exposition that's not always required to progress. One thing this game does exceptionally well is the day-night mechanic, the day-night cycle. Playing this game at night involves so much adrenaline, it's goose pimple worthy, that's cringe, I don't give a shit. No other game has really done that except for like Half-Life 2, when I stayed up all night to beat Half-Life 2 on a school night and went to school that morning not knowing who I was, but experiencing an awesome, thrilling story, the end of Half-Life 2. This game nails that terror and the adrenaline rush and the goosebumps you get from being spotted by a volatile at night. This game nails that, and it's a thrilling experience at night. The quests are really inventive, and there's enough variety of them to keep you interested. Some of the quests have you swimming underwater, overcoming all sorts of different obstacles. It kind of makes you feel like a Navy SEAL, doing like buds training, like underwater demolition when you blow up the building. Since you had to swim underwater to get there, and you didn't place the bombs underwater, you placed the bombs in the building to make a specific shape of a frowny face. I feel like this game's quests allow you to play at your own pace, so you can learn at your own pace and level up the agility tree or the power attack tree. And the quests also allow you to improvise from time to time on how you complete each quest, which is nice. When it comes to post-apocalyptic, dystopian, zombie-filled intellectual property, IP, I think this game hits it out of the park and nails all the categories required to make a great zombie game. When it comes to other games that failed miserably, I think that makes this game even better when you gain perspective. So for me, this will always be the single greatest zombie experience I've ever had. This game really nails the intimate first-person single-player aspect. It's the best. It's the best zombie experience, guys. That's my take.